great. So, will I hand the floor to you?
Yes. Can you make me host to share the screen, or
you can share the screen? Yes, you can do that. It should work okay. Yeah. And I just so you know, I only send them a new link at the start of each class.
Okay.
So I didn't have the link until the class started at 10.
That's okay, no problem. I was just panicking, obviously, a little bit.
Don't worry, don't worry, don't worry. We're all very friendly here.
Okay, all right. So first of all, Brian, thank you for inviting me.
Thank you for coming.
It's always lovely to meet new people and see new groups. I have a short presentation on the service of the local employment service. I'm the coordinator, and I'm also going to tell you about our job club. So you're all very welcome. So sit back and relax. I will try to speak clearly, and if not, please feel free to tell me to slow down, okay, because it's important that you can understand me. So just to start off on what we do, the Job Club is based here in Park Street. We're beside the Argus newspaper, or some of you might know the Kingfisher restaurant. So we're in between those two other shop fronts. Our company is called Loud Leader Partnership, and within that is my own section, which is the local employment service. And then we have a job club, which also comes under my remit too. My job club leader is called Martin Noon. He can't be with us this morning because he is already delivering a job club workshop. He runs them regularly, and I'll tell you a wee bit more about them in a minute. So as I said, we're based here in Park Street. We're fully opened at the moment, and I see that on your list of questions. So we're fully opened 9 to 5 with a full-time reception service, should you care to call to the organisation. However, many of the staff are working from home. We work blended at the moment, so staff are in on a rota basis to avoid too many people being in at one time. So most of our appointments, because of COVID, are carried out by telephone. So generally speaking, if you come into reception, we will be giving you an appointment for a telephone conversation. However, if you feel your English isn't sufficient to manage that appointment over the phone, we will be happy to meet with you on a face-to-face basis. Obviously, with all the COVID protocols in place, such as mask wearing, sanitization, and all of that. But we will facilitate that for clients who need a face-to-face interaction. So that answers that question, which was put to me there last week by Brian on a list of questions that you had. So we are open at the moment. We're open 9 to 5, but many of our appointments are over the phone at present, with limited face-to-face for people who need them. And generally they tend to be people who maybe are struggling to communicate due to maybe they're just learning English at the moment, or haven't enough language just to make the telephone conversation easy. Okay, so as I said, our job club is a workshop based program, and really what it does is it I suppose gives you the skills and tools and techniques to tackle the job market. So the job club is specifically aimed for people who are ready to go out to work. Okay, so I suppose I have to point out that that will require a certain level of English. Okay, and that's what employers will tell us all the time. You know, I'm looking for someone, they must have good English skills. Okay. So if you're not there yet, and I hope Brian agrees with me, you know, I think it's vitally important to get that English language up to a certain standard that you can comfortably apply for jobs, and that you can comfortably attend, because employers, in my experience, do not make huge allowances for people who don't have a certain level of English. And I suppose I'm being brutally honest here, because on occasion with our own clients, we have met people who cannot understand why they aren't getting to the interview, or cannot understand, you know, that they aren't being considered for jobs. But generally, we find it's because the English language isn't strong enough. So outside of classes, we advise our own clients to be listening to the radio, to be, and I know this is difficult, to be at home with your families trying to speak English. It's always easier to go back to our native language, but if you can, just spend a bit of time practicing your English when you're going into shops, using your English and all of that kind of thing, because employers do require a certain standard of English. You know, even though you may not be in a job or in a customer facing role, in terms of health and safety, you know, they need you to be able to understand health and safety rules and regulations and all of that. So hence a good level of English is important. And I know that's what I'm probably preaching to the converted a little bit, because that's what you're all doing at the moment, investing time on developing those skills. So our workshop, I suppose, is designed for people who have that certain level of English and are ready to tackle the jobs market. At the moment, we're running solely by Zoom, and it's great to see people are so comfortable and so familiar with the technology now at this stage, whereas a year and a half ago, you know, we'd have all just recoiled in horror if we had to do our classes and workshops on Zoom. So our job club is solely on Zoom at the moment. And, you know, one of the good things is it's accessible for everyone. So, you know, in the past, we might have people coming from Carlingford or Meath, and it was very, very difficult for them to get to Park Street. But now Zoom allows us to work with people from all over. So we have a very structured week, and we begin on a Monday with the CV tips. Tuesday, as you see there, it's job hunting, and we look at various websites. Wednesday, we look at cover letters. Thursday, we go into interview skills and tips, and give you tips for an online interview, you know, because I find you know, people often think because the interview's online, they don't have to present themselves in the same way. But you are still expected to turn up professionally dressed, you know, to arrive on time, all the things that we would teach you as if you're going to an interview. So make sure your Zoom link, Zoom works for you in advance. And as I said, one of the big things for me is that you maintain professionalism, so that your dress is as it would be as if you're going to meet someone in person. And sometimes people can let that slip, and it's really a no-no. You need.
Are you looking at me, Siobhan?
No. Absolutely not, Brian. No, but I just want to make the point that it is important. Sometimes people, you know, treat the online interview as something a little bit more casual, you know, but, you know, just try and remember, you know, everything can be seen on Zoom, sometimes a little bit better. And then to make sure that your background is as professional as possible, that it's tidy, it's clean, it's free from clutter. You don't have maybe any statement posters or pictures in the background that it might allude to your religious beliefs, your political beliefs, all of that kind of thing. Simple, straightforward, very bland, in fact, is probably best. And I'm looking at the backgrounds that you all have behind you, and perfect, you know, that's what we're looking for. Nothing, you know, bright and bold and kind of the draws negative attention, I suppose.
Mhm.
And then we go on to interview questions and tips. We'll do a mock interview. And, you know, every interview does have standard questions. And, you know, it surprises me every time that one question people fall down on. And it's the easiest question to get right. What do you know about our company? What do you know about Loud Leader Partnership? What do you know? You've applied for a job at Loud Leader Partnership. Tell me what you know about the company. You know, I've seen so many, and I've sat in a lot of interview panels myself, so many people respond to that badly, or maybe give one line answer and nothing else. It's the easiest question to get right now, because every company has a website, and these websites have plenty of information. You don't need to know intricacies or huge detail, but you should have a little paragraph prepared. Loud Leader Partnership was formed in 1995. It runs a number of programs, including the Local Employment Service, the LES. They're government funded. Simple, basic details, but a couple, 4 or 5 facts, bullet points that you can learn off and talk back, you know, give back to the employer. But I mean, I've seen people just make a mess of that question. And unfortunately, if you're not bothered to do a wee bit of research, well, it doesn't look very good, you know. And it's usually one of the first questions. So it's a question that kind of settles you in. So really prepare for that question. So if you're off to a good start, that's half the battle. As we say in Irish, tus my la na hebra. I'll take a second language in for you. Then on the final day, we have a number of guest speakers. So we would have Stephanie Burke. You're probably familiar with Stephanie from your own organisation, LMETB. She's one of the guidance officers. So Stephanie would come in and talk to the group about maybe further training, the role of LMETB, the VTOS programs, and all of those good things. We also invite Kaylee Mulligan in, and she's a volunteer liaison officer with Volunteer Louth. And we would always encourage people to look at voluntary work, you know, as a means of getting an employer or a reference on the CV. It's very important. And Louth Volunteer have great opportunities. And you know, it's all very formalized, the volunteer system, so it makes it easy for people to identify volunteer roles.
Yes. Just to interrupt there, yesterday we were speaking to Karen from the volunteer organization. It was really very interesting. Can I ask, in general, do you find that foreign nationals would be more likely to end up in employment if they start off in the volunteer area? Yeah,
Definitely. Not just foreign nationals, Brian, everyone. I mean, you know, as recruiters, we talk about filling gaps in the CV. What have you done? Okay, unfortunately, you're unemployed for those 2 years, but what did you do while you were unemployed? And if someone can say, well, I volunteered with the Simon community, that's worth its weight in gold.
Yeah.
You know, and like with any job, they'll have a list of duties and skills that they've acquired during that time. You know, and I think one of the barriers for our foreign nationals is, you know, they may have a great CV, they may have great experience from your own country, but I suppose one of the hurdles or one of the challenges is to get an Irish company on that CV where you will have a local reference from. So until you get your first paid employment, I would really encourage everyone to look at volunteer work as a way of filling the gap on the CV. Yeah.
Okay.
So we would also have employers come in from time to time. So Glenda McCourt from Home Instead Senior Care, they regularly look for care assistants. We've Tara Byrne from Staffline, which is a new recruitment agency in Dundalk. So they come in and join us on the Friday and give us a flavour of their vacancies as well. And you know, they're always interested in looking at new people. So that's our workshop. We run them approximately 3 times a month, and they're for a week. Now they're not full days, because full days would be a bit overload. They're morning only.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and as I said, Martin would be with us, but he is running one at the moment.
That's okay.
So
Sorry.
just
Ala, are you here? Ala?
Yeah, I'm
Yes,
here.
you're
Sorry,
here.
I'm
You're
waiting.
listening. Good. I'm
Yeah,
glad to
I'm-
see you joined us. Good, good. Sorry, a student arrived late.
Okay, hello, Ala. My name is Siobhan Rankin from the Local Employment Service.
Nice to meet you.
You too. Okay, so just in terms of the CV, okay, so people always say, how should I lay out my CV? What format should it be in? What should it look like? Well, I mean, my answer to that, and I've been looking at CVs for many, many years. I used to work in recruitment before I joined the Local Employment Service. So I would say to you, there is no one style. There's varied styles. Once your CV is clear, the spelling is correct, the grammar is correct, it's easy to follow in a logical way, I would say the style does not matter overly. Once, as I said, it is clear and logical, and the employer can find out the details he's looking for very easily. If you're looking for sample formats, again, our job club as part of the service will do your CV for you. So we would ask you to do a draft rough detail, and then Martin would go away with that and he will put it into a nice presentation. He will enhance the language and all of that good stuff. So a CV obviously will start with your personal details. Now, a word of warning here. We would find a lot of clients will use maybe an email address that maybe alludes to their personal life, or maybe alludes to a pastime or something like that. Your email address for job seeking purposes should be very plain and simple. It should contain your name or an abbreviation, but not a nickname. You know, think business-like. Okay. Again, you know, with your phone number and that, obviously you're going to put your mobile phone number, but a lot of people maybe change their mobile number and forget to update the CV. So they're submitting CVs with old mobile numbers. So always check every time you maybe update your mobile phone number or update address that you're updating a CV, and just checking as you go along for that your personal details are always correct and up to date. No need anymore to put a date of birth as part of your personal details. We used to years ago, but that's really gone out of fashion now. So you don't need to put a date of birth. Once your name, address, your email address, and your contact phone numbers. And just while I'm talking about email addresses and how they should be business-like and professional, I would say the same to the message that you have on your mobile phone. You know, sometimes when you ring a client and it goes to voicemail, they'll have maybe a very jokey or maybe even a religious message, or something again that's not business-like. Again, keep your voice message. My name is, I can't come to the phone right now. Please leave your number and I will call you back. But there's no need for any kind of jokes, prayers or anything like that. And I hope I'm not offending anyone, but you know, it really is important. Employers, when they're ringing you, they don't need to know, you know, they don't want to hear a joke really. They just want to talk to you straight and simple. So, you know, keep email addresses, keep all those voice messages business-like and professional. Okay. Remember, you want the job, you know, you don't want to give an employer any excuse not to take you for interview. Personal profile. So again, personal profile is an option on your CV. You don't have to put in one, but it can be just a nice wee way of summarizing, you know, who you are, your skills. I keep it short and brief. And again, it should be a good just summary of a number of your skills. And, you know, I have 5 years experience, I have skills in customer service, I've good, you know, and again, in the job club, we'll work with you to develop that personal profile. What I would say to you in it, you know, maybe read it back or present it to an English speaking person, because often personal profiles I find can be contradictory. I love working on my own, but I also I'm a great team player, you know, so things like that. So just watch them, and if you're putting together a personal profile, always be sure that you understand it. And again, we've seen that where maybe people who don't speak English as a first language have asked or have got someone to write a personal profile for them, and maybe there's words in it that they're not familiar with, and then when they're asked to talk about their personal profile at interview, they're on the wrong foot. They're not familiar with the words, and all of that. So just if you choose a personal profile, make sure it reflects you and that you can talk about it very, very easily. You know, something that you're comfortable. Keep the language simple, I would say.
Siobhan,
so then we talk.
Sorry, one wee question, if that's okay,
yes.
about personal profile. Is it a good idea, or is it a bad idea for a foreign national to say something like, originally from Syria, I have been living in Ireland for so many blah blah years, and then go on to talk about their skills? Or should you not mention being from a different place?
I don't think it's necessary, Brian. You know, I don't think that needs an explanation, because an Irish person wouldn't say, I've been living in Ireland for 50 years or whatever it is. Okay. I don't think it, you know, I don't think it is necessary. I suppose, you know, employers may see the Syrian experience on the CV further down. What you could do is maybe put it in your cover letter, if your cover letter is required. That would be the place where I'd say, rather than personal profile. With personal profiles, you know, it depends. I've seen some very good ones, I've seen some very poor ones, you know, that are just words trotted out and really meaningless. So just, if you're going to include one, just give it attention, keep it simple, make sure it reflects you, I would say.
Okay.
Then just on the work experience, we start generally with our most recent work experience and work backwards. And again, you'll include here the company name and your job title, and then a number of duties. A couple of bullet points. Again, when you're describing these, keep them short, keep them simple. If you use the one tense, so you know, one of the things I see at times is people might say, or they might mix tenses when describing the one set of work experience. So they might say for example, kitchen assistant, and they might say prepared food for chef, prepared, but the next bullet point might be serving tables. So, you know, different tenses in the one paragraph. So just something again to be aware of. Keep it prepared, cleaned, locked up. So if you're, you know, don't switch tenses for the one job. Choose a tense and stick to it.
Consistency.
Consistency, yeah, you know, yeah, that's very important. And then in terms of education, again, usually we would start with the last qualification, and education should be anything in terms of your QQIs and all of that, as distinct from further training, which might be your Safe Pass course or your HACCP training or your forklift training. So just to distinguish between your education and additional training. Then again, hobbies and interests. And again, you know, very important, especially if you don't have a lot of work experience, that you give the employer a flavor of what you do, whether it's reading, going to the gym, cultural pursuits, whatever it is. But very good, maybe, you know, to include 2 or 3 hobbies, more if you have them, especially if you're members of maybe a group or another organization, you know. So anything that shows, you know, that you're integrating to the local community, I would say, you know, as well. And, you know, that's where volunteering will come in again, you know, meeting people. And I think that's important. And I know it's very hard as someone coming from a different country to integrate, but any experience you have of local events or integrating, I think, again, is good and relevant. Then on the references, you can say referees available on request. Or if you choose to put down the names and addresses of the referees, just make sure that you've checked with them in advance that you have their permission, especially with GDPR and all of these things. You know, ensure that you check their permission to put down their names and addresses on your CV. But generally, referees available on request is quite acceptable. However, I would say have your referees in mind. There's nothing worse than getting a job offer and being asked to come back with references by the end of the day, which often happens, and then you have to go and find, you know, so there's a delay there. So, you know, when you're thinking about referees, have them identified, maybe have made a phone call. It's always polite to ask a referee, can I use your name in the event of, and again, I know that is something tricky for people when they haven't had an Irish work history. So again, that's where your volunteering would be very, very useful, because you may just get a reference there. Just wanted to go back to the hobbies and interests for a minute. I just forgot to say, if you do put down a hobby such as reading, make sure it is your hobby. I have seen it where people have put down something like reading and well, what was the last 3 books you read? And they were just, yeah, they couldn't answer it, you know, or it was obvious they weren't a reader. So just again, you know, everything on a CV, facts, nothing made up, because you will get caught out. You will get caught out, you know. You have to be able to back up everything you put on a CV. Qualifications, work experience, your personal profile, again, should be reflective of you, and your hobbies and interests, and all of those things should be facts. Okay.
Okay. Hello, Marlene. We have another latecomer. Hello, Marlene.
Good morning, Brian. Sorry, I was
Don't worry.
at the hospital appointment. I just come now.
Okay, don't worry. So this is Siobhan from the local employment service, okay? I'm recording this, and afterwards I'll send you a copy of the video. You'll see everything, okay, Marlene?
Okay, Brian, thank you so much.
No problem. Good to have you.
Okay.
Good morning, Marlene. You're very welcome. So we've just finished up talking about CVs. So we're going to talk a wee bit about the cover letter. And again, the same things apply. But the cover letter gives you an opportunity to maybe introduce yourself. So again, like Brian said earlier, maybe that's the place that you'd explain. I'm a Syrian national. I've been living in Ireland for 5 years. I am currently looking for an opportunity as per your advertisement. I am very interested in this job because I feel I have the skills to fulfill the requirements, including customer service, organizational skills, whatever, you know. And then this is where you closely look at the job description for the role. Okay, so you're going to look at the job description and you're going to study that, and you're going to look and see where you have experience that matches the requirements of that job description. And you write all of that up in your cover letter. Okay, so you need to take a little bit of time to do it. But certainly what I would be looking at is looking at 3 or 4 of the requirements of the job description and seeing how whatever experience you have fits into that. Okay, so maybe they're looking for excellent organizational skills. Okay, so you could say something like your job requires excellent this job requires excellent organizational skills. I have 5 years experience working with the Simon community as a receptionist, during which time I organized the diary for the manager, I made appointments for key staff members, etc. So, and that's only an example that I'm thinking of as we go. But, you know, look at what you have done and where it meets the requirements of the job description. A few examples. Again, cover letter shouldn't go beyond 1 page. The grammar, the spelling is essential, it's correct. And again, if English isn't your first language, so please, you know, please show it to someone who does speak English as their native language and can help you with that. And again, our job club, if you come to do our job club, Martin will offer that follow-up service where he assists with applications and all of that, you know. And again, employers will want to see, you know, that cover letter is well written. So it only means maybe someone casting their eye over it and making a few suggestions. And again, you'll find the internet is full of samples of cover letters that can be just copied and then made relevant to your own situation. Now, job hunting. Yes, so I always say to people that job hunting is a job in itself. You know, it requires work, it requires diligence, it requires being on all of the websites all of the time. And again, like I said before, make sure that your email address, because many of the applications now are emails, they're websites where you upload CVs, all of that. Very rare you'd be asked to send something in the post like we used to 2 years ago. So again, have that professional, plain, simple email address. And then the relevant websites, we would find Indeed, www.indeed.ie, one of the better ones. irishjobs.ie, Jobs Ireland, and now this is the Department of Social Protection's website, and as we're funded by the department, I have to tell you about it. We would find it better for things like community employment schemes, but in terms of jobs, local jobs, I think Indeed is probably a very good choice. Okay,
Is
Jobs
that
Ireland,
Indeed?
yes.
Sorry, is that Indeed.ie or
Indeed.ie.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank
And
you.
then you can narrow your search down to Louth, Dundalk, etc. And then, you know, as I said, most employers are using Indeed. So that would be my number one go-to website for jobs. And then, you know, different websites. I mean, if you're looking for maybe a clerical position with the civil service or something like that, publicjobs.ie is another one, but very specific to civil service type roles. Okay. And again, our job club would go through all of those websites with you.
One of the learners had a question before. Is this the same as job path?
No.
Different service.
A completely different service. Basically, the local employment service and job club, we're a community organization. Now we have been around 25 years. Job Path are the private providers contracted by the Department of Social Protection. Now, it gets a bit confusing because both organizations get referrals from the Department of Social Protection, which come in under the Pathways to Work or the activation program, which means they have to engage. So they'll be sent in, and we would work with clients in that way. We have to work with them over a 12-month period, seeing them every month. However, we also have, because we're a community-based organization, we have a voluntary aspect to our service, so people can access our service voluntarily and access our job club voluntarily. So to answer your question, we do similar work to CTAC, but we would have a more community-based ethos, and our service can be accessed voluntarily, as well as, you know, it is obligatory for clients sent by social welfare.
Okay.
It's complex, the setup of employment services, but that's kind of it in a nutshell. So skills, again, you know, skills are broad and varied, and anything from organizational skills to accounting skills to customer service skills. And again, important to work your skills into your cover letter and into your CV. And again, you know, this is again where volunteering comes in. You'll acquire skills through volunteering, such as communication skills, customer service, organizational. You'll acquire these skills through community employment programs, again, which are a good progression route that fill that gap between not working and the labour market. So again, you know, I think community employment or TUS schemes, these are all labour market programs for people who are 12 months plus unemployed. And again, good ways of bridging those gaps and acquiring the skills you need for the job market. Interview skills. So, you know, if you get to interview, again, like job hunting, it requires preparation. And again, you know, there are different types of interviews. A lot of employers are using competency-based interviews at the moment. Other employers will have just a general chat. It's more relaxed depending on the role. But again, you should never, even though you think you're going for maybe, you know, a kitchen assistant or maybe a production operative role, you should always treat any job interview you're going as a, you know, a business professional like encounter. So again, regardless of the role, I would ensure I am dressed properly. You may not need the suit that those guys have, but a shirt and tie is no harm. You're better to err on the side of caution. You want to give yourself the best chance. Again, when preparing for interview, make sure you know where if it's a face-to-face, make sure you've visited the location before, that you're not running at the last minute lost. You know exactly where you're going. You arrive on time. Yeah, you're not running looking parking meters again at the last minute. That's all done in advance. That gives you time to get to the location. with 10 minutes to spare, I would say.
Mhm.
You know, interviews, you know, you can be obviously quite nervous, but there are a number of techniques, and our job club will teach you them in order to just take a breather and calm down and present yourself as best as possible. And you know, there are typical interview questions. As I said, one of the first ones is generally, what do you know about this company? Why do you want this job?
Mhm.
So important, you know. And you might know in your head why you want it, but practice the answer to that question. I think it's a good opportunity. I'm very interested in your company. I have the skills required to do the job, such as organizational skills. I have good communication skills. You know, I think the job would be very suitable to me. So have thought about it beforehand. Don't rely on yourself to just come up with the answer on the day, you know. But again, job club will prepare you for all of those questions, and we go through mock interviews as well. So we do mock interviews, and then follow up to that. If you are invited to an interview, even though you might have finished the job club workshop, you can always contact Martin, and he will take you back in, and he will run through the interview process with you. So it's a very good service in that respect, you know. And you know, we've had clients who maybe started in one job. We had a client before Christmas. He got a job in a local factory, Blurgan Precision Engineering. He started there. We were thrilled he got that start. By Christmas, he unfortunately was made redundant. So he came back to us in Job Club, and we helped him through the application process for bus drivers with Bus Éireann, and we just got word last month to say he was successful, and he's now in Bus Éireann. So, you know, just because you've got one job with the help of the Job Club doesn't mean you can't come back and go for a second, you know, second support. So, you know, we just want to see people get into jobs, and we will do, or we give whatever support, be it filling in your application form with you, helping you to do an assessment for the civil service, done that with people, or just helping you with a cover letter. Okay, so you know, the support is ongoing there. We've already talked about the interview questions, and you don't want to be this guy here with the sweat in his brow. He probably hadn't done his homework or prepared. So, you know, you want to be confident and give yourself as good opportunity as possible to get the job. And again, there's some of the people in the job club, I hope they're not falling asleep, but Martin does all sorts of brainstorming exercises and little role plays and all of that to keep everyone awake, hopefully. And as I said, we do a lot of mock interviews. Just some people don't like role plays, but they're actually very effective, you know, and they actually, you know, help you to practice the theory. And I would recommend them. I know we don't like them, but they are good even to hear yourself speak it through, you know. Again, if you don't want to do the job club workshop, we can offer you one-to-one support. That's where we meet with you on an individual basis. Again, mostly over Zoom or Skype at the moment, but again, that's an option. And then again, that's just a little bit of a summary on what we do. I did mention that Jobs Ireland is one of the websites we use. It is the Department of Social Protection's website. So again, they're interested to see as many job seekers on that website, so we can help with the registration.
Sorry, just to be clear, Siobhan, so any job on Jobs Ireland would be the same jobs that if you went to the job centre, to the Enployment office, they are these jobs.
Yes. Yeah.
As you can tell, I'm from the north, so some things I'm not so clear about.
You're doing very well there to know even that. Yeah. That's impressive. But with Jobs Ireland, what I would say is not all employers are using it. So it's important that you're equally using Indeed.ie and all of that. We give you basic advice on welfare related issues and payments, but we're not, I suppose, it's the welfare system is so complex. We won't go into the intricacies of someone's payment, but we will give you basic advice on your entitlements and how, you know, getting a job reflects on your payment or what issues might come up for you. So it's general basic advice, but we won't work out your individual payment because there's too many complexities involved there, depending on how many kids you have and all of that. But we can give you basic advice on your entitlements and all of that. We can help you to apply for the Job Plus grant. And this is an important little thing. If you are applying for work and you're 12 months or more out of work, so basically, the employer will get a grant for taking you on. So it ranges from 7.5 to 10,000 euro, and it's payable to the employer over 2 years. So it helps him with the wages. But we would always encourage people to check their eligibility for it on jobplus.ie. And if they are eligible, to bring it to the employer's attention, maybe in the cover letter. We would have also put it up on the CV under additional information. I am eligible for the Job Plus grant, because that's an incentive for an employer to take you on, as opposed to someone maybe who's just short-term unemployed.
And you said you can check your eligibility on Job Plus?
Jobplus.ie.
Okay.
Yeah, and it's just a short form with your personal details, your PPS number. You submit that. It goes to the Job Plus section in the Department of Social Protection, and they write out to you, usually within 2 to 3 weeks, with a letter to say, yes, you're eligible. Simple as that.
Right.
You know, and it is a good thing to have, you know, again, you know, forward plan, do it in advance of your job applications, because it doesn't run out. Once you have it, you have it, you know.
Okay.
And the other thing of importance is within my own section, we have a training fund for clients. So if you needed support with maybe travel costs to an interview, or you needed, and often people may be invited to attend an interview and said, oh, I don't have suitable clothes because I've been wearing my casual clothes. I don't have a shirt, or I don't have a suitable pair of trousers. We have a little support budget to assist. It's not huge, but we can provide maybe a shirt or, you know, a pair of trousers or interview attire for someone. We can also help fund if you're going to do a PLC, fee college, a registration fee, which is 150 to 200 euro, or maybe it's a forklift course, maybe it's a safe pass course. So any training that's not available by the LMETB or the training centre, we can fund that on your behalf. Okay, so again, it's something good to know about. Within our own company, we can refer you to some of the programs that they're doing at the moment, and they have done brilliant training and things like Zoom. Not that you guys need it, but there's a range of, you know, lifestyle. They've done cooking, healthy eating courses. They're doing yoga on beaches over Loud at the moment. So there's lots of things going on there. Worthy of a look. And then again, for anyone who needs further support, we have a strong network in Dundalk of support agencies. So it might be that someone needs maybe help with financial planning. We would refer you maybe to MABS or Citizens Information if you needed information on your rights or anything like that. So often, you know, us making a call to one of these agencies can have a quicker action than maybe someone, especially if, you know, English isn't your first language and you struggle on the phone. We're happy to refer you to support services around the town.
Mhm.
If you want to register for our job club, there is a form online that you can fill in. It's on that link there. So when Brian gets the well, he
Yeah,
has the
I'll
link.
email them. I'll email this to them. Mhm.
Okay.
So this
Or
is how they
otherwise,
start their engagement with you, by registering there.
yes,
Mhm.
exactly. Yeah. And then our contact details there are as follows. And again, I know, Brian, you'll be passing those on. And if you
Mhm.
just, if you do make contact, just say you are part of the ESOL group with Brian, and then we'll know who you are.
Mhm.
And we have a Facebook page again, which is updated very, very regularly.
Okay.
It's updated daily. So again, plenty of information and messages on that. And finally, if you have any questions for me, I'd be happy to
Okay.
answer them.
Hiromi, you had a question about visas, didn't
Yeah,
you?
exactly. Actually, I need a visa to work in Ireland. Do you think I can get some advices about that?
And have you worked in Ireland before, Hiromi?
Yeah, for 3 years for national plan.
You were, and your visa ran out, is it?
Yeah, I was made redundant this April, and I can stay here until yeah, September, October. So I need
Okay.
to find something, and I need to find a work with visa.
Okay, so the sound's not great. So what I'm picking up is that you have a visa till October.
Yeah,
Okay, and you're currently not working, but you
no,
had an employer.
no.
Yeah, he
And-
worked 3 years at National Pen. Did National
Okay.
Pen organize your visa?
Yeah.
They did. And your question is, will other companies help you?
Yeah. My understanding is, and again, it's a hugely complex area, and I don't know everything there is to know about it, but the employer will need to apply for a work permit because he's outside the EU. So, if you're being interviewed for an employer, they will have to apply for the work permit for you. So that's up to the employer then to prove that he couldn't get anyone suitable from within the EU. And so there's a couple of hurdles that employer will have to go through. There's a list of critical skills, which are, I suppose, jobs that are in short supply and that they will grant permits under, and then there's a list of ineligible occupations as well. So the employer will have to show that he advertised in this country and got no one. Now I'm sure employers like National Pen are doing this all the time and know the ways around it. So again, I would be looking at maybe some of the international companies in Dundalk, like the PayPals and like the National Pens, for job opportunities that are used to that and, have a multicultural workforce anyway. But in your case, and not knowing the ins and outs of your visa, but generally speaking, for non-EU nationals, the employer will have to apply for the work permit. But it's worth maybe looking at and I can send on the website details and the contact details to you, Brian, to pass on to Harumi.
Okay.
Just to look at, go through the Department of Justice, or just to know, just to be aware of, the visa that you have, just what it entitles to you to, because there's so many different types of visas. So
Imagine, I would imagine, maybe I'm wrong, but if Hiromi, you concentrated on looking for employers who are looking for people with Japanese language,
Yeah,
you'll probably
exactly.
find that they already know that they will have to do your visa for you because they want a Japanese speaker.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, there wouldn't be too many Irish people with the Japanese
Not too many
language.
probably.
So I mean, I'd be certainly concentrating on those companies, as I said, like the PayPals and the international type companies, and I suppose one thing we always say to our clients, the further you're willing to go in terms of distance, even if it's only to get a start on the career ladder. So if you're willing to go to Dublin, that is really going to work in your favor because it opens up a whole range of job opportunities that aren't available in Dundalk.
Yeah, that's no problem. Actually, license don't matter.
Yeah, I mean, if you're willing to extend your job search to Dublin, you'll have multiple opportunities that just don't exist in Dundalk because we don't have the companies that require your language. And I mean, that's a huge selling point for you. But you might just need to get on a bus, in the mornings. You may not have that job on your doorstep. But Dublin is very commutable at the moment, between the rail service and the Matthews buses. So don't be afraid to just look in the direction of Dublin for opportunity.
Dublin's expensive for living, but many people live in Dundalk and get the bus every morning to Dublin because it's cheaper to live in Dundalk. To start, maybe you end up living in Dublin one day.
Yeah, actually, some of my ex-coworkers are still living in Dublin, so I can ask them about that.
Yeah, good idea. So I'm sure there'll be more opportunities for a Japanese speaker in Dublin than little Dundalk. But you never know.
Yeah. But I mean, it's such a great advantage to have that language, so you should be okay. But widen your job search, as I said, to Dublin. Someone else asked about photos. Should you put your photo on the CV?
Yes. No.
Yeah, I'd say no. No. It's not really the done thing in this country. No. It's quite Americanized, isn't it? Employers don't expect it. So unless it's a requirement, but I would say no. Someone else asked about renewing certificates for
this Morilat.
Okay.
Morilat, you're on mute. Can you come off mute, Morilat? Now, you received a certificate in childcare.
Yeah.
Isn't this right? In 2005, 2006?
6, yeah.
And what happened in an interview?
They just asked me that, they told me that the certificate is a long time, so I have to do another one, maybe to move forward.
They said for you to repeat their certificate.
Yeah.
Okay, and what was it? Was it a QQI certificate?
No, level 5.
It was a QQI level 5.
Not QQI. I just went for first skin that time.
Do you have the certificate in your hand?
Yeah, let me bring it up.
Put it up to the camera. Okay. Let's see what this is. Okay. And Ala, you wanted to know why you don't get any answers.
Yeah.
We can't see your face today, Ala. It's weird.
Oh, sorry.
Hey, hello, Ala.
Yeah. you know, people ask us this all the time, and please don't feel it's something to do with the fact that you're not, you know, that you're a foreign national. It's not. It happens to Irish people too. And it's been happening this last 10 years, that people don't get responses. And I think part of the reason is employers are getting so many applications in,
Yeah.
that they're just not taking the time to reply. It's not fair, you know, it's not nice, but don't lose. The worst thing you can do is lose heart, because it's happening across the board to people from every walk of life, applying for every type of job. We get that feedback all the time from our clients. I haven't heard back, haven't heard back. Yeah, I mean, I think it's very uncourteous of an employer. And if we're recruiting for vacancies, I always ensure that we do send out a letter, because people have taken the time to put their CV in. And, you know, as we talked about earlier, job applications take a lot of time and preparation. And I just think to acknowledge that is important, but most employers don't bother anymore. And it's not you.
It's
everyone
nothing
is the same.
personal, Ala.
No,
Yeah, yeah.
no.
Okay, I have
Right.
another question, please.
Go ahead.
Brian?
I have another question. If I don't have,
Sorry, Morilat. Just wait a second, Morilat. Go ahead,
Sorry.
Ala.
if I have no high education, what can I do to get job?
Okay. Do you have any even training courses or?
Yeah, it is level 2 and 3 here in level 2 in Monahan, and level
Okay.
3 in LMEBT. Sorry.
LMETB.
Yeah, LMETB. Sorry.
Okay.
Yeah, it is
Okay.
only this.
Yeah, you
Okay,
finished
and-
primary school, and that was the end of your education in Iraq.
Yeah,
Correct.
yeah. Don't
Uh-huh.
have high education.
Okay. 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 Yes. So, you know, again, and that's again coming down maybe to why you're not getting responses. Employers like to see some sort of skills there. So you're when you're level 3, that's the English language classes, isn't it? Or
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, so I'd certainly be looking at continuing them, and maybe looking at where you can get skills, maybe through a customer service level 3, level 4, you know, to get a practical skill alongside the language classes. I don't know if you intend, maybe, is there any area of work that you'd like to go into?
I'm always applied on Indeed and job Irish job.
Yeah.
Um,
And what
did-
type of jobs are they for?
It is like cleaning, chickens, like this, childcare, like this,
Yeah.
Kitchen
Well,
work.
well,
chicken work.
Yeah.
Kitchen,
work.
not chicken.
Kitchen.
Kitchen.
Yeah, catering. So maybe what you might do there for catering type work is I'd certainly be looking at maybe doing a manual handling course, because that's relevant to every workplace. So again, you have a certificate and you have a skill, and maybe the HACCP course, which is all about food hygiene.
Uh-huh.
Okay, so if you're applying for kitchen work, you haven't got experience in it, but employers might like to see something that shows that you're interested or you're orientating yourself to that area. So,
Yeah.
you know, it's about building, you know, training and education doesn't have to be necessarily long courses, but it could be something short and snappy that gives you an up-to-date industry qualification. So something like that might be useful to help you get your foot into the door with the kitchen work. Again, you know, for someone with no skills, I would be looking maybe at community employment before you go near the job market.
So volunteering.
No,
Yeah.
or
Sorry.
Community employment is a government employment scheme. It's 19 and a half hours. You have to be on your job seekers payment for 1 year. But they, and again, Jobs Ireland will have all of these vacancies.
Okay.
And it's community-based schemes. But it's treated as an employment. However, it's only 19 and a half hours. There is a training budget for each person. So it gives people the opportunity to get skills, you know, so that they build their CV. And often we would have kitchen assistant positions. So with the likes of Women's Aid, the Simon community, and places like that that have rehab care, they look for catering assistants from time to time. And the idea with CE is that you don't have to have experience or skills, but after a year, you're going to have maybe experience of working in a kitchen. And then you add on your HACCP, your manual handling, you keep at your English classes. So something, you know, something like that. It is hard for people who have no formal skills or experience to get into that labour market. So you need to be thinking small steps, take your time. It mightn't happen overnight, but, you know, build on ways you can. And again, volunteering, CE schemes, that kind of thing. Yeah.
CE schemes. Very interesting.
Community employment.
Community employment.
Yeah.
Marila, did you find your certificate?
Yeah.
Right. Put it right up to the camera as big as you can. FETech.
My eyesight's terrible. Is it?
Right.
I see
hold
FETAC
on.
anyway.
Oh, what am I doing? Stop.
Yeah,
I don't know what I've done to the view. What have I done? There you are. Yes, you make noise, please, so I can see you nice and big. Component certificate. Show it higher. Put it high. Now I don't see the words QQI for the letters.
It's FETAC anyway. How long more or less did you spend doing the course? Was it a year-long course or was it
1 year course.
a full year?
One.
1 year. Okay, yeah. So the FETAC course was the predecessor of the QQI qualification on the
Okay.
national framework. So prior to the QQI, it was FETAC for lower qualifications and HETAC for degrees and so on. Then it's all now QQI. So I don't see why that QQI, that certificate you have more or less, isn't relevant today. I mean, usually when you do a QQI level 5, that's sufficient. They don't run out.
Okay.
You know, so what you know, but that said, it's you haven't done anything since 2005 with it, so maybe that's where the employer was coming from. Again, and I'll talk about CE, community employment positions are available in childcare as well. So for anyone who wants to get experience in childcare, they can do a community employment scheme, and they always have vacancies in local creches. So you work 19 and a half hours. The standard qualification for childcare is QQI level 5. However, they are working towards everyone having a QQI level 6. So you could do CE, you work your 19 and a half hours and then do your study in QQI level 6, add to that qualification. They will pay you, if you're on a job seekers payment, that, you know, you get the same rate as it becomes a CE payment, but they'll also fund your studying, which you do in your own time. And again, I can forward you, Sarah Neary is the supervisor of the childcare scheme in Dundalk. I can forward you her details.
Great.
Brian, to pass to Morilat.
Okay.
Can I just ask, are you on a job seekers payment?
Yeah. No, my husband just collect money for retirement for the state.
Your husband is?
collected the retirement together for the state.
Okay, all right, okay. No, you'd have to claim in your own right.
So he claimed
Yeah,
it together.
you'd have to be claiming
In your name.
in your
In my
name.
name.
Yeah, but it's something maybe to think about if that's what you want to do, you know, and you could do a QQI level 6, you know, build on that level 5, and so then when you go to an employer, at least then he's seen that you have studied in more recent times. So
Okay.
even O'Fee College at night time, do those QQI level, you know, 6 modules, even if you were building a couple of those modules, adding them onto the certificate that you have.
Okay.
It might not be a bad idea down in LMETB to make an appointment to see Stephanie Burke in the career guidance section, or Anne Fallon there within your own organization, Brian, who might just guide her there in terms of maybe doing a QQI level 6 in childcare.
Okay. On our
Okay.
side of in Chapel Street, the English department, the ESOL department that we're in, we only do up to level 2.
Okay.
So these are all questions for what we call across the road.
Yes. Yeah.
Which is a bit higher. So you would need to go over to the other school opposite us, I think, to find out more information. I'm not.
But it's Stephanie Burke that you'd be looking to talk to. Stephanie Burke. And Stephanie's lovely, yeah.
Okay. Lovely. Now, does anybody else have any questions?
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Yes, I have a question, Brian.
Yes, Marlene.
Yes, Sharon, my question is, if you went for the interview and then you finished the interview, they told you that they will call you back and then they didn't call you back, you think that that interview passed well or didn't pass well?
Okay. So I didn't get all of that, Marlene. Just
So
you
this
said
is your
if you
interview last Wednesday.
Yeah, last week. Then
Yeah,
they
you had an interview and they said they'd call you back and no call.
Yes, so
okay, and that was last Wednesday.
yes, I'm not. So I'm worrying maybe the interview didn't pass well because they said that they called, they didn't call. So my question.
It didn't go well.
Yeah, maybe it didn't go.
Okay. Yeah. So basically, you're saying you did an interview last Wednesday. You're not sure how it went, but you've heard nothing. I would think by tomorrow's, it's a week on, I would think it would be okay maybe to just send them a polite email and just say, dear, whatever the person was, I attended for interview last Wednesday, and I was just wondering, have you an update on how I got on, as I'm very keen or very interested in this position. Short and simple, but make it polite, you know, kind regards, Marlene. Just a couple of lines, polite, short. I'd leave it probably till tomorrow because, you know, it's a fine line between hassling them and just wanting information for yourself. Yeah, I think I'd leave it maybe till tomorrow or the next day, certainly by the end of this week. If you haven't heard, I think it's reasonable to just ask for a little bit of feedback.
Okay.
I think that I wouldn't have thought that would have been a problem. I mean, you don't want to bombard them with messages, but it shows you're taking the opportunity seriously. You know, that I don't think there's a problem in contacting them, Marlene. You're a nurse and you went for it wasn't actually a nursing position, was it? It was
no
care assistant.
Yeah, because back home I'm a nurse, But the time I came here in Ireland, they said that my level is low because is level 6 for my country. So if I want to do nursing here, I have to go again to the college. So I did the QQI level 5 for care, emergency care. So
Good.
I work as a carer in Kerry for 3 months because I was looking for the house here in Dundalk. That's why I didn't work. The time I found the house, now I want to work to find a job, even in Dublin. So I went for the interview twice. One place they said that the interview didn't go well. They send a message to me that the interview didn't go well, so they can't take me in that position. Another one, they said that they will call me. Since now they didn't call me, so I'm wondering.
Do you have an email address for them?
Yes, I do.
Yeah, no, I think certainly by the end of this week, I'd send just make sure that it's worded nice and polite. It doesn't come across, and just send a short email and just say that you're interested in feedback. I haven't heard, dear so-and-so, I haven't heard from you following the interview for the position of care assistant. I would be interested in some feedback, as I'm very interested in this opportunity with your organization. If you would be happy to call me on phone number, kind regards, Marlene, something like that, just short, sweet, simple.
Marlene, on Thursday, Marlene, when we're in the center in school, I can help you write that email.
Okay.
Okay, we'll make it nice and polite, but very interested.
Okay.
Yes.
Sorry,
Yeah.
Shavron, the last my question, I was want to know if your job club can offer someone a job.
No, we don't have jobs, unfortunately. Now we do have employers ring in with positions from time to time, but I suppose what we would say is that rather than have jobs to give out, we give people the skills and the tools to help them apply for jobs that are out there,
Okay, thank you so much.
But I mean, the other thing as well is we do have, I don't know if you're currently applying for care homes, but we do have Glenda from Home Instead Senior Care. It might be worth coming to the job club and meeting with, because Glenda attends every Friday and she picks up applications through our job club. So, you'd have an opportunity to talk to her. She attends on Zoom on the last day of the job club, and we've had many people with qualifications like yourself start with her.
Okay.
Or if you so like, if you want to pass me your if you don't want to do the job club, but you'd like to be put forward to Home Instead, I can take the CV even via Brian and forward it to Glenda if you like.
Okay, Brian will give you my CV. Thank you so much, Shavron.
Oh, okay. Best
There
luck.
you go. There you go. Okay. Now we have 10 minutes left of class. Marilat, you've got your hand up again. You're on mute, Marilat.
I just want to ask one question about I told her that my husband collects money together with his retirement. What can I do for that?
Divorce.
Okay.
What?
Divorce.
No. Well,
That's why it's late.
I'm joking.
Yeah.
Okay,
So
okay.
basically the rules of community employment is that you must be 1 year on a job seeker's payment or another social welfare payment. But you're claiming as part of your husband's claim. So in order to get around that, what we advise people to do is you need to go down to social welfare and ask for the family claim to be split so that you're claiming in your own right.
Okay.
Your husband will continue to claim and you will claim in your own right. Now, because CE, you need to be 12 months unemployed. You'll have to, you won't be eligible to sit for CE from, say you do that this month to next July. Yeah. And during that time, because you're a job seeker, you will be subject to activation measures. So you will be sent into a service like ours or CTAC, where you'll have to attend monthly appointments to be demonstrating your efforts to look for work. But you have a plan of action there, so we would work with you to fulfill that, but yeah, it would be, I suppose, an appointment. You need to go down to social welfare and talk to them about splitting the claim to do CE.
Quite complicated, maybe.
Yeah. But what I could do is, I think what you should do is probably talk to Stephanie Burke, or the other thing I could do is maybe if you wanted to make an appointment for one of our own guidance officers, and we can talk you through it and give you a wee bit more information, and come in and sit down with one of the guidance officers here, and they would help you plan and just give you tips on what about how maybe that you'd work the process through. That's probably best idea there. Do you know what I mean?
So
I would recommend everybody uses your service. It could, if one thing, it's certainly more English practice for everybody, and it's practical. It's so practical for you all. I really recommend it.
Yeah,
So
and
go
ahead.
Yeah, you want me to work in the social welfare or in your office?
No, well, I mean, I'll give you the phone number if you want to. Have you a pen there?
Yeah. Yeah, please.
Or Brian will have my contact details either. So our phone number is 042
042
93
93
288
288
97.
97.
Yeah.
Let
And
me-
if you just mention my name, and I let the girls know to expect a call, and then I can sort out an appointment for you. It'll probably be telephone appointment, but just to look at your situation.
Please, how do you spell your name, please?
Oh, that's a hard one. So it's
S
I-O-B-H-A-N.
Oh, you're so fast.
Can you see my screen?
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I do. Do you want to write it for me, please?
Can you see that?
Not yet.
You don't
No.
see this?
Irish
Yeah.
name.
Yeah.
Siobhan, Irish name.
Siobhan.
Siobhan.
I don't know how to do a fada. I don't know if you have a fada.
No, don't worry
No,
about
there's
it.
no fada.
Over the A, but don't worry.
We
Yeah.
write it like this, but we say Siobhan.
Yeah. Perfect.
Siobhan.
And her surname Rankin.
But I didn't see it in my phone.
You don't see this?
No.
Oh.
Oh, I
I
can
thought I
see
was
clear. Is it?
Okay. Yeah, I saw it now.
You can see it now. Am I sharing?
Yeah, I see now.
Okay. I don't know. My screen is going a bit crazy. I don't know what I'm doing.
All right, no problem.
Yeah, I think you have that.
Thanks millions.
You're welcome. You're welcome. And yes, please give us a call, and we'll look at the entirety of the situation between the payments and the qualifications.
Okay.
Any last questions for before we say goodbye? This poor lady needs to go, and I'm sure you have lots of other things to do.
Oh, no, I love meeting groups, and you know.
Uh-huh.
That's what it's
Any
all
last
about.
questions? Anyone? Nobody?
No.
Thank you.
Okay.
Well,
Well, on
best of luck with your studies, and you know, as I say to all our non-national clients, just ensure that you keep speaking English as much as possible and practice. And I know what it's like. I mean, I lived in France myself for a year, and when I was there initially, I just had very few words, and I was speaking all sorts of tenses in the past tense when I should have been speaking future and all of that kind of thing. But after the year and being totally immersed, I mean, I got on okay, but it is a challenge, and you have to sometimes make that effort,
Mhm.
which can be hard. You know,
Practice.
practice. Yeah. All
Okay,
right,
well, on behalf
Thank you
of
very
the
much,
class,
Brian.
on behalf of myself, thank you very much, Siobhan. Lots and lots of information there. Thank you so much.
All right, okay, all right, Olivia.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
All right, bye,
Thank you.
Siobhan.
Bye.
Thanks.
Bye.
Bye.